there's a lovely story, I'm sure you know it, from Mary Lavin, Brother Boniface. And there's a bit of that with Brother Boniface. You know, he just did things, and he was there for people and available. And again, I think that idea of availability is probably a critical part.
Well, dithering round was the phrase that I used.
Yeah.
You know, I think
Yeah.
that's my vocation.
But let me push you a little bit on it, if I may.
I still hang around football teams. I mean, tonight I'll be up at the top of the hill with the Fermanagh lads.
That's right. I believe you said a prayer once for the Fermanagh team in Knock when they were playing against Mayo.
Oh, I did. We know when they were playing against Armagh.
Was it Armagh?
Playing against Armagh, and we won. So I was doing a wedding, and I should have been in Croke Park.
Yeah.
Fermanagh's biggest day in Croke Park when we beat Armagh and got to an All-Ireland semi-final with 19 clubs. 19 clubs, that's all we have. About 4 senior clubs, the rest of them are junior clubs, and one of them is a hurling club. And we're still able to produce a team that gets to an All-Ireland semi-final. And great conviction and love, we're never going to be a big team. We're never going to be a big team, and we're only a boil in the BGA's backside from that point of view. But we're here. And we're still here. So there was a wedding, and it was a girl in RTE actually was getting married, and she had asked me to do her wedding, and I said, yeah, sure, but I didn't think Fermanagh was going to get to an All-Ireland quarter-final. So I got to the quarter-final, and I went to Knock. It was over in Mayo, and I went over to Knock and said a prayer for Fermanagh first, and then went on and did the wedding. And there was a priest behind me, who from the local parish. And this is 2004, and he was, I could say he wasn't taking any interest in this wedding at all. I was saying, why the hell did he come out? Because it was hard work, because I could see he wasn't interested, and so could they, So, but anyway, at the end of it all, he takes out a phone, and I was about to give the final blessing, and he says, you might want to see that. Fermanagh, 13 points. Armagh, 12 points. And I said, you're setting me up. No, that's the score. Is it over? Yes, it's over. So I was able to tell them. That couple got the greatest blessing they ever got in their entire lives. And the day immediately afterwards, Tyrone beat Mayo.
Right.
So then we played Mayo in the semi-final.
Oh yeah. Go back though a little bit. And we were talking about being compassionate to yourself, and I know you're very humble, but again, this ministry of communication.
Yes.
If you were at the gates of heaven,
yeah.
And it was put to you, do you believe it's been a successful ministry? Because it's a difficult one, and it's a one that will always have detractors.
Absolutely.
It will always have naysayers. It will always attract people to have polar views and strong, loud views. In your view, is it and has it been a successful ministry?
Well, all I know is I've done it to the ultimate best of my ability. And I think people have discovered, a compassionate Christ through it.
Yeah.
If that is so, yes, it has. I would say yes,
and
but it hasn't been anything else other than that. You see, you haven't got to believe it. From the Second Vatican Council, it said that we must be in the world, but not of it. In other words, you shouldn't have worldly values, but you must be in the world, and that's what that is. And how if you it's like, does the devil have all the best tunes? Yes, if holy people stop writing them. Sure. Does the devil have all the best communicators? Yes, if everybody else just jumps out of the way and hands it over to the devil. You put your tuppence halfpenny worth. It's a crucifixion, let me tell you. It is a crucifixion, but that's what purifies it. If you're in it for your self-glorification, first of all, it won't happen, and secondly, it's the wrong reason to be in it. You have to be conveying something, and you do that by. I do that by. In the Irish Times, the Sunday Independent, they've asked me to write for them time out of number, and I refused to write for them. Not because I disliked them, but I said, Jesus was among the prostitutes, the difficult ones, the drunkards, the rejects, the marginalised. The Sermon on the Mount is directly to all of us people on the margins. And so the margins is where Jesus is. And that's what the Sunday World was always about. Kevin Martin, God be good to him, he asked me for 2 years to write for it, and I said I couldn't Jesus, I couldn't, Kevin. And Kevin sat across his house one night and he said, so you tell me you're interested in preaching the gospel now, at the time. I'm giving you 500,000 people every Sunday and you won't talk to them. What kind of an effing priest are you? Yeah. End of story. Yeah. I've written an article for the Sunday World every single year. In June it'll be for 43 years.
Yeah, without missing a single edition.
Yes.
Which is incredible.
Yes, 43
can I
years.
ask,
and people tell me, now people say, we grew up with you, or my mother made us read it, or whatever it is. And it is, Terry Wogan once said to me, he said, he said, Brian, the secret of any communication, when he was talking about a radio program, the secret of a successful radio program is to be able to stay around long enough to become a habit. Yeah. That's the ultimate success. Yeah. And if you think it, the people of Ireland, the gay-borns, or whoever it is of this world, they're a habit. Yeah. And everybody gives out about them, but they're a habit. Life is not the same without them. Yeah. And poor Terry, God be good to him, mornings are not the same without him. You know what I mean? And recently, the Sunday World were doing something and revising it. And I said to them, look, I've been writing long enough here. If you get anybody else to write, I'm happy enough to ride off into the west, into the wilderness. They said, no. So they did a survey and they discovered that, the best known name in the Sunday World. When they asked people, who writes for the Sunday World? Yeah. The number one that everybody knew was Brian Darcy.
Wow. Incredible.
which was well, we all laughed at it, because I said they're cute people. There's the perfect example of why you should never believe Irish surveys, because they always tell you the safe one rather than the true one.
Well, I don't know if anybody could ever describe you as being the safe one, but anyway.
No, well, a safe name to mention. So I was the excuse to buy this Sunday World for every old lady in the country. Yeah. I wouldn't buy this at all, only Father Brian. But I was the last page they read in it. They read all the scandal first.
Sure.
It is difficult, very, very difficult to leave, but it's difficult to change. But I think it's foolish, I think it's wrong, but I'm not going to make an issue of it.